Hey, everybody. Welcome, all of our friends, family, and fans who might be hanging out there. We do have people hanging out, too, because I can see the eyeballs. That's the signal on our software that says, hey, there's people logged in. So, hey, you're here. I'm so glad you're listening to Eternal Impact's Live It Out live stream with John and Jennifer. And we'd love to hear where you are, where you're coming from. We are currently... Wow, we are rushed tonight. Tonight is a while.
It's been a big day.
It's a huge day. We'll get into that a little bit. But we got a lot of moving parts. We got a guest tonight, Sam Gray. Can't wait to introduce you to him. He is currently in the digital green room, and we will be letting him out soon. We've stocked his green room with M&Ms and Doritos, so he's going to be very hyped up by the time he comes on the live show. Oh, wow. Hey, a big hi from Kathy, a.k.a. Kat. So glad. Got Rod, Glenn, and Roberta. What?
Hey,
the whole
everybody.
gang is there. Got Rod, Glenn, Laura, and Glenn twice. Look at that. We've got Rod, Glenn, Glenn, and Rebecca. So very cool,
Great
you
to
guys.
have you.
Great to have you guys hanging out in one spot. That's kind of fun. See, so they only count as one eyeball, and then there's also all those others that are in the room. So that's pretty cool. Hey, the audience is growing. Mary Hamilton, actually Jennifer's aunt from Merced, California. So cool. Glad that you are here. A little shout out from Merced and to Merced. Our guest is from Florida today. Anyone else from Florida out there tonight? Just give us a little shout out. This is what's going on. I just want to remind you at the Live It Out live stream, this is a place where we unapologetically lift up the ways of Jesus. We promote grace and strive to learn, think, and live like Jesus Christ. We believe in a triune God who loves us, transforms us, and calls us to live out the good news where we live, work, and play. And if you want to cancel us, well, then you have to cancel us for that reason, because we are unapologetically that. We are changed people, and he's changing us little by little. And hey, Sherry, good to see you.
Welcome back.
Yeah, I saw that. Oh, didn't Sherry get a plug tonight?
Oh, maybe.
Because yeah, she sent in. We'll just say. We'll give credit. Can we give credit now, even though we're not doing it?
Sure.
Okay. Sure. Sherry. A lot of people have been sending in dad jokes, which we're grateful because we got some great ones. Oh man, it's been fun. Jennifer and I have been laughing out loud, and Sherry sent one in. So I think it goes. If we get to it tonight, that's
Sherry,
you had
may
one.
have made the cut.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good, very good. All right. Well, if you're joining us for the first time, or you're a regular viewer, either way, we welcome you. This is a 1-hour show. We are done before 7, and tonight we will definitely be done before 7, because as soon as we are done with the show,
Don't make promises you can't
oh no,
keep.
we are gonna keep it. Yes, we are. We're gonna be done, because you see this hat right here? That's right. It says staff. If you're watching and not just listening, and by the way, Laura, hello. It's nice to see you. I saw you pop on there as well, and that's a staff, because we are staff at the fireworks. Team G fireworks stand.
Fireworks
so crazy.
season.
I can't believe we're doing this again.
It finally quit raining long enough to feel like it might be the 4th of July.
Yes, and it was like 90 out there today or something like
I don't
that.
know, it was
felt
really nice.
Warm, almost like California. But anyway, it felt great. We are setting up, and we rushed back.
Literally rushed back.
Yes.
We stepped back in the house at 5 after being there for 12 hours.
Yeah, you stepped in at 5. I didn't step in at 5. So we got in. I got in here at 5:30 or 5:20 to set up and get the studio kind of started up. And we met with our guest and got him into the green room, did some sound checks. And by the way, hopefully all is going well, sound and video. You can hear us okay. Let us know for any reason if you can't hear us, and you don't need to tell me that John's louder than Jennifer, because I already know.
We know.
Always. But anyway, so yeah, let us know if there's any audio video problems. We're still getting the kinks out. And this is our 4th episode. 4th episode.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's gone fast.
I know. It's gone fast. Well, it's only 4, honey. I mean, we got 50 some to go. Who knows? But if you're with us on YouTube, okay, just so you know, we're going to ask you to do this. On YouTube, would you please hit the subscribe button and ring the bell? That is helpful. It builds our platform on YouTube and extends the impact through your engagement. So really would appreciate it. And if you're on Facebook, swing over to YouTube and subscribe there too. Might as well build that platform at the same time. If you're on Facebook, however, Follow us personally or follow Eternal Impact. Some of you might be getting this broadcast on John or Jennifer's personal page or on Eternal Impact. Well, follow us. There's a lot of fun and exciting things we're going to be doing over this next few months. We'll be, leaking them out to you. I will give you one hint that this fall are going to be some shows from Hawaii. Yeah, that's cool. That music in the beginning, our intro music, kind of
sounds Kiwi to me.
Does it? Kiwi?
Yeah, I always think of New Zealand.
Well, we're going to be doing live shows from New Zealand as well. So whether it's Kiwi or whether it is Hawaiian, either way, we got shows coming up in October from Hawaii, and we're going to be doing it from New Zealand in December,
and we're
January.
Going to be doing it from our tent, right?
I think so. Next week.
I
don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
It.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But if we can get everything set up there, we might go live from the fireworks stand. We'll see.
Well, let's talk about what we're doing today.
Yeah, for
today's show.
Let me just say, by the way, did I mention that you need to be our friend on Facebook?
We need friends.
Not really be a friend, but just follow. Difference between being a friend and following is when you're following the personal pages or Eternal Impact, it'll give you more reminders. It gets in the algorithm in the thread. So, just do that. If you're a Facebook user, many people, it looks like, are coming from YouTube as well. So we got a good mix. So, and thanks, Kathy, that you can hear. That's good to know. I'm glad.
That makes the experience a lot better.
Hey, and Rebecca, how do you do? I know you're with the whole group there.
Oh, man.
And then Ben, why don't we have a shout out to Ben?
I've got to get a shout out to Ben.
Ben is a rock star.
He was a rock star today, and he helped us out at our tent, setting up these fireworks and working on the generator for hours. And Ben, you're a rock star.
You rock.
We wouldn't be sitting in this seat right now if you hadn't been there to help.
Yeah,
so,
you're a rock
truly,
star, fireworks star, generator star. Everything star. You got stars. Well, hey, let's get to a little bit of news, and then I'm going to circle back to Ben because there's something about exciting people want to know about Ben Clifton. But anyway.
So let's talk about today's show.
Teaser.
We're going to give a brief update on what's going on. You've already heard about the fireworks. That's probably the biggest thing right now. Then we're going to take a minute. We're going to do a flashback, and we're going to talk about some of the highlights and a question or a subject from the previous episode. So we'll circle back briefly on that. And then we're welcoming our guest, Sam Gray. He's going to be joining us all the way from warm, sunny Florida. And we're going to be discussing millennials in the marketplace. So that's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to that. When we're done with that, of course, we're going to do our weekly challenge and a giveaway. So if time permits, we've got a giveaway. So you'll want to stick around for that. And of course, no show is complete without a good dad joke. So we'll wrap things up with a good dad joke at the end. So we have a lot planned for you. It's going to be fun, and you're going to want to stick around for it.
And we have people. I like the fact that different people are asking if different people are there. I like that. Kat's asking, Joey, are you there?
Are you there?
It's awesome. So that's fantastic.
I love community.
I know.
That's great. That's what this is all about.
It really is.
Creating community.
Because we're not only giving good content, but we also do want a community and engagement with each other because we grow together. And just so you know, 20 people in and out of the conversation at this point. So that's fun. That is fun. And they're from different places. So feel free just to keep putting your info up there. Let us know where you're from or give a comment. We do see all the comments coming through, just so you know, whether they're from Facebook or YouTube, and we get them. All right. So we're going to try and add a little technology here when Jennifer does In the News.
In the news. So you already know about the fireworks tent going up. We actually open up tomorrow evening, and we're excited about that. So all of the proceeds, 10% of them are going to Ben's ministry, Adventurous Apologetics.
Yeah, that's cool.
And we're excited about that. 10% is also going to be going towards our pastors in East Africa. Mm-hmm. And then the rest of it is helping us to see our daughter in New Zealand. So be praying that the Lord just blesses this business and these funds come in to bless not only us and our family, but all of these other ministries as well.
Yep.
So that's exciting and going to keep us busy. We mentioned last week that we were going to be speaking at Oregon City Christian on Sunday, which we did, and we had a wonderful time meeting new friends and reconnecting with some older friends that we hadn't seen in a long time. It was really fun. So thank you, Oregon City Christian. Maybe some of you have joined us tonight for the first time because you heard about us on Sunday. So welcome. If you are one of them, we welcome you. We had a wonderful time at your church. You are dear, dear people.
Yeah, that was great. And if there is that, the person that is on there, we'd love to know if, ooh, you just got a sneak peek of our guests. I didn't mean to. I accidentally pulled him out of the green room there, but not yet. Anyway,
let us know if you happen to be one of the people from Oregon City Christian and this is your first time logging on.
Yeah.
Just make a comment in there and we'll welcome you. It'd be fun to know who's out there.
Yep. And every Live It Out live stream, it seems like we always have a guest, at least one or two or three from out of the country. And Pius Hillsong from Uganda, we just want to say welcome. Glad you're joining with us. It's either very late. You would either consider it very late or very early. I'd say very early. I think it's like 4:15 in the morning there right now. So, wow. But he's joining us tonight. So glad our friends from Uganda and around the world are joining. We do have always international guests joining us with that. It's so weird.
Great.
Fourth and from, what was it? South Korea, New Zealand, England, Uganda, Rwanda. We've had a lot of guests so far from different spots. So cool. Well, very fun. So let's, it's exciting, by the way. I do want to say in regards to Ben, what a great job. And we are totally excited to launch him. And he will be heading to, that's Ben Clifton. Oh, he just even said, wow, guys, too generous. Thanks for Adventurous Apologetics. Yes. We love Adventurous Apologetics. We are launching them out of Eternal Impact, and they are, they're doing great work. He's going to be in Rwanda in, I think, a week, 2 weeks, I think. And then when he comes back, we'll be doing a show, and we'll be...
we're going to highlight them.
We'll be highlighting some of the work. So we also have some Ocean Park. Hey, Rebecca Bircham.
Mom.
So glad
Hi,
you're here.
Mom.
Oh, man, there's always a hi, Mom in the crowd. So very cool. Very cool. All right, well, I want to... And by the way, I think... Can I mute that? I think I can. Okay. Sorry. We have so many little technology things we're battling through here. But it's exciting. All right. Well, we do a flashback every week in the show, and I'm going to make it quick this week. Last week, in flashbacks, we go back to something in the previous show, and if there's something that someone wrote in or something that just stood out, then we highlight it. Well, here's what I want to highlight, something that happened. We interviewed the folks from Karis Springs Pastor Retreat Center last week, and it was really cool that I ran into a pastor at a graduation party last weekend, and he came up to me because he had listened to the live stream, and he came and said, hey, I just wanted you to know that I went to Karis Springs 2 weeks ago. And I thought, wow, that was so cool. I asked him to say, what was the experience? And here's something that he said that I thought was really interesting. He said, I just couldn't believe that there was no one, they didn't expect anything from me. That's what he said. He said, we kept thinking, when's the shoe going to fall? After 2 days, it's like they were really there to serve me. And he said, my wife and I just hadn't had that kind of a time without the kids to just focus and pray together and just go on hikes together and just be together. And it's like, wow, that was a win. And I just thought it was so cool that after interviewing them, so Penny or Roger, if you're on here tonight, just want to give a shout out to Karis Springs again and say, I heard from a pastor just this last week, and that was cool.
And they had a wonderful time.
Yeah, very cool. And so here's the juxtaposition to that. I met with a donor later earlier this week, and it was interesting when I was meeting with them. They had a hard time understanding. They were asking me, it's like, well, is there really a need for a specific place for leaders like this to go and get refreshed? And obviously they weren't in full-time vocational service, Christian service, or even on a leadership team at church, but I think therein lies one of the biggest threats, and that's the flashback that I want us to talk about just briefly, is that I think there is a huge lack of awareness, you guys, a huge lack of awareness on the body of Christ and on leadership within the church of the need. I just don't think they're aware of the mega need. So, what leader care is far more than a vacation. It's more of an intentional carve out of intentional time to focus on soul formation, intimacy with God, marriage relationships and family, etc. So we're going to talk more about it, but I couldn't help but get that amazing testimony of a pastor, that I ran into, and then having also a meeting with the donor. I was like, well, is there really a need for this? How do you pay for this? And I get it. I understand, but I just think it's really important for us to understand, man, the need is big. And the more that we open up to the reality of it, I think it'll become even more clear. People will see it. Mm-hmm. So anyway, hey, we want to take this moment just to thank our sponsors. Go ahead and do that, Jenny.
Yeah, we do want to pause and just thank all of our donors that help us be able to do this through Eternal Impact. They are our number one sponsor right now. And we are so grateful to each and every person who contributes to the ministry and allows us to have this time. And we look forward to bringing on more sponsors in the future. But right now, Eternal Impact is doing a great job in helping us launch this live stream and watch it grow.
Yeah, and I know some of our champions are on tonight, even now, and those are the ones that financially give to that, and we just are so grateful. If you want to join that team, just go to eternalimpact.org, and you can do that. You can also get newsletters, and all the details are on there. Sign up for anything to find out more, or just reach out to us through a personal message, and that'll be great. Well, hey, a quick breakdown, and I mean quick. I usually do a breakdown during this time before we do the interview of just kind of what we're going to be talking about tonight. But this is a subject, we labeled it, millennials in the market, living out the gospel in the marketplace as a millennial. But, millennials statistically have those stereotypes, and some misgivings. We could think of all the things that they get called, and, slackers or what do you call it? The snowflakes and, all that kind of stuff. And our guest is probably going, what? They say that? No, he knows. But the reality is I see a great potential in the millennial generation. And I know we're all kind of clumped into different ways, sociologists lump the Gen Z or Gen X, Gen Z, millennials, etc. But I just want to say that I have been so encouraged by some of the amazing leadership I'm seeing coming out of millennials. My kids are millennials, and great young men like our guest are millennials. And our guest is a statistic breaker, in my opinion. I've been privileged to be in men's group for several years with this friend and brother. And he recently moved to Florida from Oregon, and still stayed engaged for a while through our, Zoom and digital, because he moved during the COVID fog. But I really just want to say that today is going to be an opportunity for all of us of all generations to really, glean a little bit and ask the question, man, how do we live out this gospel in the marketplace? Mm-hmm. So we'll talk about it. We'll talk about multiple things in that, but I want to get to it. It's at 6:22 on our calendar or on our clock, and I want to take the chance to connect with Sam. So why don't you introduce him, hon? And let me remind people, before you introduce Sam, why don't I just remind you that you can ask questions. So throughout the night, if you've got questions, just put a Q colon, and that allows us to be able to sort for the people that are commenting, that we're seeing come through, and we can see, there's a question. So Q colon, and then just put your question. It could be for us, it could be for Sam, it could be for anything. But please do that, and that'll be great. And then we're also going to be asking a question in a little bit, and for that, you'll just put an A colon, and that'll be for the answer for that question, and then it'll randomly pick a winner for the prize for the book tonight.
Yay.
So anyway, just want to remind a Q colon for any questions you got.
All right. Well, we want to welcome Sam. He hails from Oregon, as you heard, where he grew up helping his dad run his retail business in Salem. And about 5 years ago, he became an insurance broker in Oregon. And last year, he made that big move over to Florida. Although Sam has always considered himself a follower of Jesus Christ, it wasn't until this past year that he felt he truly surrendered all aspects of his life to God. So when he's not working as a broker, he enjoys helping lead his church's youth group as well as participating in men's groups. So please welcome our friend, Sam Gray.
Sam Gray. Sam, are you there?
There he is.
I'm here.
Oh,
Out of the green room.
Out of the green room. I hope the
M&Ms
and Doritos and energy drinks were good that we put in the green room.
They were, yeah.
They were good.
I had
Excellent.
to provide my own, but they were good.
Oh, okay. Well, when you sent us that contract, to be on the show, and you said only green and yellow M&Ms, I'm like, man, how am I going to get through this?
Yeah.
I'll just let him do his own. It'll be fine. So, all right.
Well, it's great to have you today, Sam.
Yeah, great to be on. Thanks for the invitation.
Yeah. Very fun. Very fun.
We want to just kind of talk first, getting to know you a little bit better. You said you were raised in a Christian home, but you obviously had an encounter with Christ. So why don't you just give us a little brief update on your faith journey?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was very fortunate to be raised in a Christian home. I know that's not everyone's story, but it was for me. And I think I'll just tell you from my point of view, I mean, there are some challenges to that because my parents are very strong in their faith. And thankfully, they put us in Christian schools. I mean, that was a big priority for them and nothing but thankful for that. But the definite hurdle that comes across, and I've talked to other Christian friends that are in a similar situation, is that you can tend to ride your parents' coattails for quite a long time and not make, the faith your own. And that's definitely my story. I'm always a follower of Jesus. And, but it wasn't till, embarrassingly, pretty recently that, like you had mentioned in the intro, that, I've kind of fully surrendered to the Lord. So yeah, that's kind of been my story so far.
That's cool. Hey, bro, tell us a little bit, which, by the way, you can identify with the pain we're feeling right now. I know, because you also used to do fireworks, and it's your fault a little bit that we're even doing the fireworks that we're doing. We won't get into all the details of that, but we're blaming you for the exhaustion. My back is pulsating with pain, and it's blaming you right now. But no, tell us. I just want to give a little anecdotal that you can understand what we're going through here. I know you do. But talk to us a little bit more about that. Just recently, what are some things that happened that really went from this faith that you carried with you right and wrong and values and clearly Christ is the Redeemer, but clearly there's some things, some experiential things that have happened to where you said, hey, this is I make some decisions steps towards Jesus and living out in His ways. So talk to us just a little bit about that.
Yeah, I definitely think for everyone that the answers to anything you're going through can be found in God's Word. I think that's what the truth is. But at the same time, I do think that He brings along certain people at certain times of your life because He loves us to kind of push us in a certain direction and to encourage us. And what's been amazing about my move to Jacksonville is that I had been able to plug into a church that really has given me really strong teaching and just how to really I never even thought about it this way, but to really fully surrender all your aspects of your life to Jesus. Because I think as Christians, I think most people can relate to the fact that we're all believers, but at the same time, there are different areas in your life where you simply just are doing it your own way and doing it on your own. And I think that's part of the sanctification process, is to identify that in your life and then to really ask God to help just give that over to Him, whatever area that is. And my pastor, he speaks, I feel like to me, he speaks more to like men and the challenges that men go through, like in this world with like lust of the eyes, lust of the flesh, and like money and like power dynamics and stuff. He's very keen on that. So it's just been the perfect time in my life to hear that kind of message and just the truth of God's Word. And, it's been just the perfect timing for me to receive that in my life.
That's cool.
We have to be prepared in our own spirit to hear those messages.
Yeah. Cool. Well, just great to hear that. And, you use the word sanctification, which, it's a scriptural word. Paul uses it. And it's this idea of being set apart for another purpose. And so in the gospel context, when Paul's talking about being sanctified, it's being set apart for His purposes. And that is something, isn't it, that we are just continually called into. We're called into that. And I think when we talk a little bit about millennials, we talk about the marketplace, it's a challenge to be separated for his purposes. You know, it is a challenge, and it doesn't mean that we're not redeemed. You know, he redeems us and he sets us free and he gives us new life. And as it says in John, we're born again spiritually into this new life. Paul says in 2 Corinthians that we are new. Pardon me, I think I got that wrong. Someone correct me. I think that's Thessalonians, but he said we're a new creation in Christ. The old is gone, the new has come. But at the same time, as that new creation, we still have that nature that's with us, right? And so he's still calling us to set ourselves apart for his purposes. And I just love that. I just love the reminder that you've given us tonight. And so let's press in a little bit to the marketplace and what it means to be set apart for Christ in the marketplace. And obviously for all ages, but you are an active, you're a millennial. And I love that. You're in your 20s. And, you know, on one hand, we think, well, you know, kind of big deal, you know, whatever age we are, you know, we're living out the gospel. But your generation really has a growing number of those that are stepping aside from the faith, or specifically from traditional church, but also from their faith in Christ. And so to live that out of the marketplace brings with it in this culture some challenges, you know, that maybe weren't even there 30 years ago. But you're in your 20s navigating those. So let me ask you this. What have you found as a follower of Jesus Christ to be the greatest challenge for yourself in the marketplace? What would that be for living out that gospel?
Right. I mean, yeah, for me, I'm getting kind of closer to the end of my 20s. So, and I've been in my, I guess, profession for like 5 years. So from what I've seen in my experience, it's been that just there's a lot of competing interests, especially in your 20s. And I think like being a millennial, I think that's also synonymous with like technology. Like we've grown up in a environment where we are just like being pulled and pushed in every direction. I mean, you got your phone that if there's a dull moment, you can just like lose yourself in social media and on your phone. Mm-hmm. And I just think as part of, you know, living out as a follower of Jesus Christ in the marketplace is being super focused in your mission. And I think it's important for believers to be very hardworking and to, you know, make money, provide for the families and stuff. At the same time, I think it's important to also reject the culture's push towards like, you know, in the business world that I am in, it's very much a mindset of like, you know, your 20s, you better just be working like nonstop and like you'll thank yourself later if you just pour yourself into it. And it's like, yeah, I get that. I think it's better than like being like lazy and not doing anything. But at the same time, I think there's far more to life than just being successful in like a vocation. I think it's like an all around success. And I think millennials for a large part are finding that. I think there is a push for like what really like is the way my parents did it, or is the way our parents' generation did it the correct way? I think there is some questions that people are asking, but at the same time, you got to be so intentional about not being just super distracted with just everything competing for your attention. That's what I've found for the most part.
Yeah, that's good, because you said something important there too, because in the very beginning of your testimony, you talked about the foundation that was laid from your family, from your parents, and you even had opportunities because you had family businesses that to work, you know, when you're working with family, it's in the family business. And, you know, they laid a grounding for you, but as parents, you know, we make mistakes too, right? So we give the foundation, but our children, they build on that as they have their own faith, and it grows and it develops just as I'm seeing in you. It's like, it's not about doing it exactly like the parents did, but it's about taking that faith and personalizing it, making it your own. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, then I'm, you know, there might be some things that we've done in our generation that needs improvement. That's great. But I love the fact that you're willing to be set apart for him and just say, okay, yeah, let's identify what those are. So let me ask you this. What are effective ways that followers of Jesus can distinguish themselves in the marketplace? Or stated another way, in Matthew chapter 5:16, when it says, let them see your good works so they will praise the Father in heaven. It's not so that we'll get the attention, right? It's so that people will be drawn to the love and the goodness of God. But talk about that. What are some ways that you've found, just from your experience, to distinguish yourself in such an environment that you've described?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, being raised in the church, I think Christians in general, from what I found, can have a mindset that, like, if I'm not in ministry full time, if I'm not a pastor, if I'm not a missionary, then, like, I guess I don't have a place in advancing the kingdom. And I think that's a lie from, like, the enemy, in all honesty. I think you can effectively do that currently where you are. For me personally, I've had the mindset in recent years of procrastination mode, in that, like, hey, I know what my personality is. I'm not like an evangelistic person by nature. When I have a family, when I have kids, that's when I'll really start, I'm going to raise them right. I'm going to do that the right way. And then I'll have done my part as far as, like, advancing the kingdom. But I think that's wrong. I think we need to, like, bloom where we're planted, and wherever you're at, I think there is a way for you to be able to be Jesus to, like, your coworkers, to clients that you have. For me personally, in the insurance world, I kind of run my own business. So I have agents that work with me. They look up to me. They ask me questions. And when you have coworkers, it's very natural for other things to come up in conversation outside of work. They're like your second family. And sometimes you see them sometimes more than your family, which is probably not the way it should be. But
but you're spending a lot of time with them.
Yeah, huge.
Well,
hours
exactly.
and hours.
And I think if, like, for me, my pastor had mentioned a really good thing. If we can get really good at hitting softballs out of the park, I think I'd come a long way if I could get good at that. Meaning, your coworker walks in and he's like, man, I just had, like, a rough day. It's a rough time in my life. Things are not going well. I mean, the natural human thing is like, oh man, that really stinks. I'm sorry for you, and then move on. But that's such an, like, opportunity to share Jesus with them, ask them more of, really, like, what's making you feel that way, and show them where the answers can be found. One other thing that I do that's been effective for me, I'm not really the evangelistic type by nature. And also when I'm working with clients, it's not really appropriate just to, like, bring up the Bible, like, while we're talking insurance. Like, it's kind of weird a little bit.
Right.
But I wear, let's see where the camera's at. I wear like bracelets.
Yeah, we see them.
And they'll say different things. Like, this one says, John 3:16 says, God loves you. It just has, like, kind of things that, and people ask sometimes. You're wearing a t-shirt, people ask. If you're wearing a bracelet, people may ask. It's just another opportunity where I can get people to ask me, so that I can then have the opportunity, the door opens for me to share with them things that are going on in my life that may impact them.
I happen to know a lot of millennials right now that use their tattoo for that same reason.
Yeah, totally.
It's a witnessing tool, because people
Don't
ask.
tell my mom that, but yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right.
But they purposely put it where it's seen so that someone can ask about it, and it opens a door for them to share a little bit about their faith. And
tattoos are the new wristband. Tattoos are it.
Totally.
I'm having one done on my forehead for that reason. I haven't told Jennifer yet, but
I'll stick with the bracelet.
No, I'm just kidding. No, but that's great. I mean, it's really awesome, because what you're talking about, we've talked about this on past show as well, is that it's not about being preachy or having to have the right scripture verse or whatever, that would be. It's really just about living life as a gospel person, as a follower of Jesus, having an other orientedness about yourself, not because it's just a good thing to do, but also because that's what Jesus tells us to do. That's what Paul reminds us, said, think of others more highly than yourself. So it's like, when you think of that situation you were talking about, I know it's hypothetical, but someone's coming into the office and they're, or they've had a rough time, you have an opportunity to be sensitive to their needs and to ask them how they're doing. And I think that's huge. I mean, that is something that you'd think would be something we'd all just know, to do. But I think sometimes we kind of gimmick ourselves a little, like, oh, I've got to say the certain thing, or I've got to have this phrase, or take them through the 4 steps of whatever. But the reality is they're just looking for the light of Christ. And if you can distinguish yourself within the marketplace, within life, then life happens, and opportunities will be there for you to engage them with good news, and more, just to be good news, just to be that good news as you are. So, hey, let me ask you another question. There's scripture's pretty huge, obviously in our lives. Is there a verse, like for me, there's several that just kind of come to me that I, as I've memorized, wherever they come to my mind in certain situations. When you think of, the scriptures and the environment, what's one that you hold close to encourage you to kind of navigate the work environment when it's challenging?
Yeah, so I had thought about this, and I don't have one that necessarily applies perfectly to your question, but I do have one that I think will still work. I mean, the whole Bible works, so
yeah,
you can kind of pick whichever you like.
Right.
But
kind of a life verse, or something like that. Yeah.
Well, that's what I was getting at. Yeah. So
yeah.
I've never had like a verse for a specific year, but this year I kind of had like a verse that I'm kind of going to, that I'm trying to really work on. And it comes from Philippians 4:10-13. It's basically about God's provision in Paul's life when I believe he's in prison at the time. John, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I think so too.
But it's and I'll kind of skip down. So he talks about, it says, not that I'm speaking of being in need, for I have learned in whatever situation I am to be content. I know how to be brought low, and I know how to abound in any and every circumstance. I've learned the secret of facing plenty and hunger, abundance and need. I can do all things through him who strengthens me. Now, the way I apply that to what we're kind of talking about is, especially being in your 20s, being in a millennial, life can be slightly like anxiety ridden with putting so much pressure on yourself to perform in a career, making a certain amount of money, finding a partner, having a family. It can be so much stuff just out of your control. And I think you guys could probably touch that more than me. As you live longer, I would assume you just realize that more and more, that so much stuff is just out of your control. And so the idea of Paul here is in prison, and he says that he's learned the secret of being content in every situation. And I think that's part of fully surrendering all aspects of your life to Christ. And I think in some way it kind of all ties in, maybe.
No, that's good.
Great.
I think I like what you said about the fact that it's not necessarily, it doesn't have to be a verse. Sometimes I have a verse for this and I have a verse for this. It's like, no, this is a verse for life. We're living out the gospel. And what you talked about there is whether it's in the marketplace or home. And I love the fact as you're single, if you're, dating situations, all of that kind of stuff, you're really wanting the contentment of the Lord to be clear in your life. And that takes gratitude. That takes adjusting expectations to where he's in charge and we're not, and I mean, really I hear that in what you're saying, but I also, I've seen it in your life, bro. And I appreciate that. And it's not an issue of perfection, right? It's an issue of aspiration. And by God's grace, we just say, Lord, I want my expectations to be you, and I want to grow in that. I want to see you do that. So that's really cool. And I love the fact that it doesn't matter. It's not a verse for the marketplace, right? It's a verse for life. It's just, but like you said, we spend a lot of our time in the marketplace. Students spend a huge amount of their time in school. Those that are in the workforce, we spend a huge amount of time. The majority of our time really is working. Whether we're a plumber, a police officer, a lawyer, an agent, insurance agent, whatever. I mean, we're working a lot, which is understandable. I mean, there's a divine dignity in that work, and it's beautiful. But I think your point is just really, it's life. Those are just the scriptures for life. So yeah, very cool. And by the way, you did mention, the dating thing. I'm not saying whether you don't ask me and don't put Sam on the spot on, whether he's single. I'm seeing messages, come through. It's like, listen, you can personal message him through there or not, but always handsome, godly dudes. They're always like, whoa, amazing. So, well, let me just let's ask you another question.
Yeah, I've got one for you, Sam. So being in the marketplace obviously can be draining. So my question is, what are some of the rhythms and how do you replenish spiritually? How do you get yourself filled up again so you can go back out and be the light? We all have different ways that we do that, but how are you engaging in fellowship? Have you found time for that? Or what are you doing to nourish your soul and get back out there?
Yeah, totally. These have been recent. Like, you guys are catching me at a good time. I have the answers for you right now because.
Well, we try our timing. We just work really hard on that.
Yeah. So, to answer your question about how to kind of replenish and stuff. Recently, I got involved, like you had mentioned in the intro, with the youth at my church, and one of the big things I didn't even realize that would come from that is the fact that I've been able to almost like kind of forced to like read what the message is going to be for the week, because I have to be able to answer questions from these kids that might ask. So I've been forced to kind of be more of a student of God's word, which has been beneficial. That's how I've been kind of replenishing in that sense. And also the men's group, I mean, John and Ken and Ben, they've all been very much throughout the years of meeting with them, just told me how important that is to live life with other strong, godly men in your life. And so I found a good group that kind of mimics what we used to do.
Cool.
That's been very helpful. And then I don't need any help relaxing. I do that pretty well just in my own downtime. So
that's one of your spiritual gifts, isn't it? Relaxation.
It is one of my gifts.
Yeah,
yes.
That's what I thought. Very nice. Yeah, that's cool. Hey, thanks for sharing that. That's good, because we need that. We need a fellowship. And that's a good question, Jennifer, too, because every one of us, no matter what age group we're in, whatever. But one thing that I think that as you're talking about that, I recently chatted with you about one of the groups that you were in, and you talked about how it was diverse in age too. What do you think about that? Is that of high value? I mean, having groups of different age groups. I know the group you're with, me, obviously, I am a little older. I know I don't look it, but talk to us about that. Just, intergenerational fellowship.
Yeah, I think it's super important. I'm the first time ever, I'm not the youngest person in the room. So, I'm 28. There's a 24-year-old, so I'm like the second youngest. But I think it's super important to have different generations mixed together. I think it's important to spend time with people. I don't know where I heard this from, but it's not even a necessarily godly principle. It's just like a practical one, like a third. You should spend your time with a third of the people that are like gone before you, a third of people with people that are in your peer group, and then you have a third of the people, spend your time with a third of people lifting them up, so younger people. And I think that's important in like a discipleship group to have a mix, because you got the wisdom of the older folks, and you got kind of more of like the nuanced take of things from the younger, and I think it harmonizes pretty well, and that's been my experience. I think it's important to do that.
Cool.
Yeah,
especially in our the times we live now, there's not as much families were together more. Some of us have really tight families as our adult children and that, but for many they don't have that, and so they're moving, they're more transient, and so having that opportunity to have others in your life that are older, as well as from us. We love having those that are younger, even our kids' age and younger, because it brings a different perspective and, a discipleship that's really cool. And so we try and we love that. So I appreciate that. Hey, we've got some other questions that have come in, and if it's okay, we're gonna take some of those. And we do want to just a shout out to all ours around the world who are listening and a part of tonight. I see Jamie is there from Mariposa, California. Very cool. Fun to have you, Jamie. We've got some more. Susan, I don't even want, if I mess up that name, and I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it. Is it Tweakerize? Tweakerize. I think it's that what it is. But Susan, tell me if I've got it right or not. But really glad that you're joining us as well. But hey, we got a question from Kathy. So Kat, she has the question, Sam, Could you give your perspective on how parents can speak into their adult children's lives? I have 2 adult children. In what ways can I encourage my kids in their faith to stay focused? What a great question. Man,
Yeah.
she's a good question asker. So I'll keep that up there just so you can see it too. So go for it. What do you think on that? That's a good question.
That is a very good question. Yeah. Yeah, my parents have done it well, in my opinion. Man, I think it's definitely different from when, you have younger kids that are in your house and stuff. That's a totally different dynamic once they're older. I think it's important. It depends. I mean, if they're walking with the Lord, I think just encourage them in what they're doing and just say, hey, it's a tough environment out there for Christians to stay the course. Encourage them to get into fellowship and to be a part of a community and to serve, I think is important. I just recently at 28 started doing that. So I'm not like speaking from, that's not what I've been doing my entire 20s.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's super important to encourage them in that because especially men, didn't see what if it was girls or boys, but men specifically, I think can isolate more. I think that's not a good thing. If they're kind of a prodigal son or daughter, I think it's important to just speak the truth. And me and my 2 younger brothers, we've all had periods in our lives where we've kind of strayed away a little bit. We always come back because we got parents that are they always were more of willing to risk not being our friends to speak the truth. And I think that's important. More important when you're younger and you're like under 18. I think equally important as you're in your 20s, because we just got to be able to speak the truth to one another, whether it's painful. So that would be my recommendation, even if it damages the relationship for a bit. We do it with love and kindness and humility, but truth, other than protecting feelings and whatnot, that's important.
Yeah.
That's cool. Thanks, Sam. Yeah, let me just reiterate a couple things that you said there. Just so we got community, number one. That was a big one. That you said you encourage that and foster that. Of course, when your kids are adults, though, Sam, right? I mean, they get to choose that. They're free agents, free moral agents, and they have agency. So, but you mentioned something else on there too that I thought was cool is that serving, and that's good because that also helps us with our contentment. Right, that helps us with that thing you were talking about earlier that Paul talked about. I think Philippians. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is that where you quoted from? I didn't write that down. Okay, yeah, thanks. So that's a good one because serving helps you keep perspective, right? And it'll also you learn from those that you're serving. So anyway, that's good. So one other thing here, speaking truth. And the risk of not being the friends. That's a tough one.
Yeah,
because,
love.
as parents, we want
hard.
that so much. Yeah. But I think you would agree, Sam, of course you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it doesn't, it's not a harsh thing. It's like you just live in life, be in truth, and hey, I'm going to speak the truth. I'm going to love you no matter what. It's not like I'm, condemning you or, it's just, this is truth. And this is the truth of the gospel. And this is what the Lord has given us, and not to waver in that. And that you're saying that even if there's times, because you trust them, you come back, you come back and you come to that true north, that was there. And I mean, am I saying that right? Did I capsulize what you're saying? Okay.
Totally. Yeah.
Cool. Well, very cool. We have another question on here, and I haven't read all of them. I'm trying to keep up with them. Pius says, "Hi, Sam, I have a question. I'm in my 20s, and I would like to know how I can keep on track with Jesus when dating." When dating. Oh, I didn't even read the full question. Boy, we're giving you all the good questions there.
You're in the hot seat now.
No. So just honestly, what there might be thoughts that you've got on that. What are anything come to mind?
Yeah, wow. Yeah. Well, I can tell you what, I try to do. I mean, that's another reason why I've started serving, just to be frank with you. I mean, especially as you get in your later 20s, you really want that. I mean, if you're someone that wants to have a family, like you're getting to that point where you really want to make it happen. So I think putting yourself in environments where you can find the right women so you don't get entangled with the wrong women is super important. So that was a big reason why. I think you could have multiple reasons to serve. I don't think it has to be just one thing. I think, I think going to a church that has a lot of young people, obviously that has like a church that is doctrinally sound, but does lean more towards young people is a good place to go. And then just getting involved, because you got to just getting involved and asking God to make it happen. He's ultimately in control. At this stage in my life, once again, going back to the fact that I'm just simply not in control. I've prayed prayers of like, hey, bring the right one along when that time happens. So I trust God to do that. So I'm just going to put myself to my best ability in situations that he can bring that person along. So cool. Not going to do it if you're just hanging out at home. So
no, that's good. So yeah, something we've talked about too, and I've talked with several people in their 20s about this, but it used to be too that there was, there were socials, there was things that happened. And I think that to your point, with all of the devices and, all of the stuff and everything's online and all that, I would just throw out a recommendation that you just find them at the right place. Some people are saying like, oh, okay, I don't want to do online dating. Well, the benefit is if you're doing, you can do that with a group too. You can do that with your friends from church, just like you would if someone, a cousin or a friend introduced you to somebody that you thought, might be a good mix or a good match. You can do that together. You can be it, but you got to have that fellowship that Sam was talking about in the beginning, because if you don't have that community, then you don't really have that relational accountability and that, to connect with. Plus you mentioned something really important. Why not be where there's other people that where the values are the same, and where why not start there? I mean, even in online dating, don't they do that? In you kind of list your values, you list all your stuff, because what are you doing? You're narrowing the scope. you're narrowing the scope, man. It's like, hey, I know what I'm looking for, and so if you want to hang out at the club, then those are the folks you're going to be hanging out with as the people at the club. But if you're hanging out and you're within fellowship of people that are like-minded, like-hearted, similar values, probably the same kind of theology, and that's a cool thing. And it's a great place to get connected. And if you don't have that, and so I'm just going to answer not just for Pius, but for others, because I know we get this question a lot coming through our lives, and that is, whatever creative way you need to get connected with the right group of people, to build that fellowship within that demographic that you're looking for someone you want to have as a life partner. That's a big decision. And so, the Lord, that can happen at work. It can happen when you're going out to dinner, going out for drinks with a friend or all that. I mean, I'm not anti that, obviously, but the reality is that you want to put yourself in a place where that environment fosters that, where that's fostered. So anyway, yeah, really cool. Well, Sam, it has been so fun having you be able to kind of answer questions with us tonight. And again, you're a stereotype breaker, and I appreciate that. I appreciate you so much. Yeah. And we just want to say a big thanks as we start wrapping up the show for you being with us tonight and taking questions on the fly. Yeah. And hey, that's not always easy, and you did it. You're a champion. Did it very well. So thanks, my friend. We appreciate you a ton.
Yeah, thank you guys.
All right. Well, you keep that guest room open for us, so when we get to Florida, we can come and enjoy some of that sunshine in the Sunshine State. Anytime.
Yep.
All right. Okay, friend. Thanks so much. I'm putting you back in the green room, and we're going to wrap this thing up. And we got a lot of thanks, Sams, and everyone just showing their appreciation. Have a following now. Yeah, he already did. They're
going to be Facebook stalked.
Yeah, they were asking. They were saying, man, who's high? He even had high Sams and people that were already on there from different platforms. Yeah. So Anyway, very cool. Well, listen, we only got a couple minutes and we want to wrap things up. Yeah. It's been great having Sam and great having all of you participate and being a part. So thanks for your questions. Thanks for the telling us where you're from and commenting. We really appreciate that. We meet people all the time. They say, oh yeah, listen to your show and all that. They never comment. We didn't even know they were there, but they just not comment. They're stealth. They're in there.
They're shy.
Well, listen, I just want to encourage all of you we're going to ask a quick question, and it's got to be a quick one because we only have a couple minutes left. And we're going to give away, do we have time? Do we have time to do I'm just thinking time-wise.
Throw that question out right now.
Okay. All right. Here's the question. Where's the question? Let's see. Oh, yeah. Right, what is Team G? That's us. What is Team G doing for the next 2 weeks? Okay, you should know this one. This is an easy one.
Send those answers in.
Send those answers in.
John, what are they going to get as a prize tonight?
Okay, they are going to
What do they win tonight, John?
Well, Jennifer, I'm glad you asked. Tonight, they're going to win a brand new Whirlpool washer and dryer. Okay, no, not really. They are going to win a copy of Mere Christianity. Mere Christianity. We love that book. Powerful. And just for a little shout out, we'll put in the notes as well. There's a thing going on with Hillsdale College right now where they've got a course on C.S. Lewis. Really good. It's free. These guys are awesome. And I've listened to about half of it. And I just want to encourage you, check that out. Hillsdale College. And we'll put the notes. It's on there on the screen right now, but we'll put it in the notes so that you've got it on Facebook or YouTube. By tomorrow, you'll have that. And so the answer is going to the person that gets it. We're going to give them 30 more seconds for those coming through, both from Facebook and YouTube. And then we will give away the Mere Christianity. Hey, it's got you.
While we're waiting.
Look, it's got Mere Christianity in the center and you on each side. That's kind of cool. I like that. All right. All right.
While we're waiting.
Dad joke?
I think we should stick in a quick dad joke.
Okay, we'll do a dad joke and then we'll give the thing.
Here we go. I have to read it. Oh, this one is coming from Sherry. Okay, here's your dad joke. So this week, I went shopping for cherries and a microphone. Bada bing, bada boom.
That is a pretty good one.
Thank you for sending that in, Sherry.
Oh, that was good. I like that. Yeah, I like that one. That was good. Okay, so what do you call a person who tells dad jokes who isn't a dad?
Jennifer.
No. A faux pas. So good. So good. Come on. No, that is a great one. I love that one. All right. Okay, we got some more good ones coming next week. But for now, we're going to give, that's randomizing right now. Oh my gosh, the answer is correct. We have a lot of people that got it. It could either be fireworks stand, fireworks sales, fireworks, anything that you put fireworks on there wins. And the winner, double honking huge winner is the person that already gave the dad joke. Man, you're getting some shout outs. Wow. It was Sherry Moore. Sherry, you got the book. It's coming your way. It'll be in the mail tomorrow. I think it'll be in the mail. Yeah, it'll be in the mail tomorrow. Right. So it'll be coming soon. Wow, very cool. Well, everybody, it has been amazing to be with you guys tonight. Thank you, everyone, for participating and for being patient with us as we learn how to live stream better. And we're going to do it next week, I think, live from the fireworks stand. And if you're in Oregon City, come say hi to us, or in the Portland metro area, just swing over into the Oregon City area at Grocery Outlets and say hi and hang out, and we'll do some fireworks.
Hang out in the parking lot with us.
Yeah, we actually won't do any fireworks there, but can't do that. No matches allowed there. All right. Well, listen, we love each of you. Thank you so much for being a part of tonight. And thank you, Sherry, for winning Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis, a classic and influential book. Man, I'm just so glad that you'll be able to receive that. So congratulations. We want to thank you for being with us. Until next time, friends, we genuinely pray that the joy of life and the gift of His grace will be tangible in and through you as you live it out. God bless you. We'll talk to you soon.
Have a great week.